this signing would be absolutely perfect for the Cavaliers. The former first overall pick Deandre Ayton is now hitting free agency after agreeing to a buyout with the Portland Trail Blazers, and this sets up the Cavs for a perfect opportunity to try to solidify their center position with them having 6 guards, multiple forwards, and only one center on their roster. They're in desperate need of getting one, and with DeAndre Ayton's buyout, this is the perfect opportunity and what would be the perfect signing for a dream Cavs offseason. I'm Matt Blaney, you heard Cavs Digest. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Before we talk about DeAndre Ayton, who he is, what he did for the Blazers, and of course, who he was drafted to first overall, the Suns, I want you guys to go ahead and hit the subscribe button because we cover everything, all things Cavs. It's a perfect time to be a Cavs fan, to be a sub to Cavs Digest, especially after the busy days we've had recently with Lonzo and Sam Merrill. And then, of course, just more things coming with the Cavs that I totally believe is going to continue happening as they try to fill in. Specifically, the center position is the biggest need right now. And with DeAndre Ayton's buyout, although maybe pricey, there is a chance that the Cavs can solidify their perfect center position in a perfect world, of course. I'm not saying that this is going to happen. I'm saying that this would be perfect if it did happen. So hope you guys understand that there, because I know some people don't understand things. But it's okay. As we now get to DeAndre Ayton finalizing a contract buyout with the Portland Trail Blazers to become a free agent. Of course, I'm not here to make Blazers content or DeAndre Ayton content. I'm here to talk about DeAndre Ayton to the Cavs. But just to kind of show you what happened with DeAndre Ayton, I'm sure a lot of you should know DeAndre Ayton was a former first overall pick to the Phoenix Suns and ended up going to the Blazers, and now he is agreeing to a contract buyout with the Blazers. So, of course, the biggest thing is, can the Cavs acquire this guy? But is he a good enough player to acquire? Well, let's look at his stats. 14 points per game, 10 rebounds a game, a double guy, which is great because even Jarrett Allen didn't average 10 rebounds a game. 56% from the field. I know he shoots 188 from the three. 18% from the three, but in reality, he doesn't shoot threes, but he actually has been working on the threes. He actually was really, really good from the mid-range area, especially after the All-Star break, which, yes, these stats show you 14 points, 10 rebounds, but actually after the All-Star break up until about March, he was averaging over 20 points per game. He was playing unbelievable after the All-Star break, and this is just an overall good player. Like, this guy learned to stretch the floor very, very well. I mean, coming into the league, he was stretching the floor well, but he ended up improving his consistent just confidence on the perimeter from shooting the mid-range jumper and the turnarounds. And that's something that we really, really saw after the All-Star break from DeAndre Ayton, his confidence to shoot the ball. Great pick-and-roll player, and, of course, you saw the 10 rebounds per game. That would be a solidified, just great rebounding duo there. But the biggest thing it comes down to, can the Cavs offer enough money, and can the Cavs get a guy that's willing to play the backup center, or is Jarrett Allen willing to play the backup center position? That's basically the two questions you get surrounding the Cavs and DeAndre Ayton is, can you get a guy is a guy like DeAndre Ayton willing to play the backup center role? Is a guy like Jarrett Allen willing to play the backup center role? That's what it comes down to. So Jarrett Allen raises a lot of question marks, of course, surrounding the Cavs offseason so far. A lot of fans and a lot of analysts have said that the Cavs could be looking to trade Jarrett Allen just because of the fact that he's proven himself to not be able to compete as a top center in the playoffs, even though he is a great center in the regular season, and the Cavs were great in the regular season. But it comes down to, can Jarrett Allen be at the top level? So what's the difference between the two guys for me? I think if the Cavs were to acquire DeAndre Ayton, it would come down to which one do you start and which one is willing to get a bench role. So I think that's sadly what you have to agree to with both of these guys, which is why in a perfect scenario you get DeAndre Ayton, but there's not going to be many scenarios where you can get DeAndre Ayton. But Brett Siegel did share that he believes that the Cavs are one of the teams that do need take a chance on him type of contract. And if Ayton would be willing to sign a cheap contract, think about Ty Jerome for a second, of how people were saying that the Cavs, to get Ty Jerome, would need to sign up for like a $14 million a year deal. If you're able to spend $14 million on Ty Jerome, I feel like in a scenario you should be able to spend $14 million on DeAndre Ayton. And that's kind of what it comes down to. I would be willing to spend $14 million for a guy like Ayton. Of course, if you can get him for cheaper, go do it. But you have to put it into perspective that he has a bigger need as of this second than Ty Jerome is, because you only have one rostered center. Yes, you have Mobley, who is a big man, but he's labeled at the power forward and can't play center. You really only have Allen and Mobley to play the bigs position. Of course, there's some guys that play the power forward, like Dean Wade can play there sometimes, and who also might not even be a Cav next season. But as well as DeAndre Hunter, who could play the four. But I look at those guys as small forwards. I totally believe that the Cavs need a big physical guy like DeAndre Ayton to be that center, at least as a backup. And I think that he could be one of the best 6 men in the NBA. And you could obviously give him and Jarrett Allen pretty much equal minutes because they have similar stats. And after the All-Star break, I would argue that DeAndre Ayton was the better player to end the season. So just at the end of the day, if they can get this guy for a deal cheaper than what they would have got Ty Jerome for, of course, Ty Jerome is likely not going to be a Cav anymore. Billy made a video on that. Go check that one out. It's the second most recent video right before my LeBron video. And I recommend watching that to kind of see what's happening with Ty Jerome. So if the Cavs are willing to spend that for Ty Jerome, I would probably put that money towards a guy like DeAndre Ayton. I know that you guys are going to mention that there are more centers on the market, and I'm fully aware that there are going to be cheaper centers on the market. But I think DeAndre Ayton is, I know he had his problems in Phoenix and everything. And I know that a lot of Phoenix Suns fans kind of question DeAndre Ayton's skill set. But I do see that if you're able to rest Jarrett Allen more, which I think was the biggest issue, is the fact that there is no backup in Cleveland. I think if you're able to rest Jarrett Allen or DeAndre Ayton more, you can really, really get a good pair of centers and two centers that are going to be practically untouchable. While you could have Mobley play and dominate whatever you need him to dominate the power forward position. And if Mobley's kind of being soft or isn't playing the best game or is tired, you can run a double big man lineup of Ayton and Allen, I guess, just to try to get some rebounds and get some physical stops. Of course, it's going to ruin your court spacing a little bit, but I showed you. DeAndre Ayton can stretch out the floor and shoot these middies. This is something Jarrett Allen never does. Jarrett Allen's a good post hook guy, good pick and roll guy, good off the offensive rebounds, but I feel like DeAndre Ayton is just a slightly better offensive Jarrett Allen. And keep in mind, he's also 7 foot. If you can get a 7 foot guy like DeAndre Ayton to join the Cavaliers, man, I think that would be a dream come true for the Cavs, especially with what the center position is looking like. Guys that I'm going to have to make videos about, talking about predictions for the Cavs can sign at the center position. Of course, I would think DeAndre Ayton would be a good 3 and 5 on the same lineup, of course. But if you could see a world in which DeAndre Ayton is on the Cavs, as I said, it would be a perfect signing. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy signing to acquire at all, but Brad Siegel seems to think that the Cavs can jump the gun on DeAndre Ayton. I totally think that a guy that averages 14 and 10 to get another rebounder and just dominate the front court with Evan Mobley to pair with Jarrett Allen, who I think is probably better than Jarrett Allen, arguably. I think Jarrett Allen is going soft, and I think that if you can pair those together, it just at the end of the day comes down to can you afford them, and is one of these two guys willing to play the backup position and take a little bit off of their starting role to play a backup role, and that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. So it's going to be a tough signing, but I think that this would be the perfect scenario for the Cavs if they could acquire DeAndre Ayton. Let me know what you guys think. Should the Cavs jump the gun? Do you think what would you guys offer for DeAndre Ayton if possible? I think that this guy could totally be worth the money that you were willing to pay Ty Jerome, or I guess now not willing to pay Ty Jerome, but the money that you were considering paying Ty Jerome. And I think that DeAndre Ayton, if you can figure out a spot to make Jarrett Allen the backup or DeAndre Ayton the backup, you are in a perfect scenario. Or keep DeAndre Ayton and trade Jarrett Allen? I don't know. We'll see. There's a lot of things that happen with the Cavs, so go ahead and hit the subscribe button because we cover everything. We cover our thoughts. We cover rumors. Every rumor is going to get shared. There's going to be a lot of rumors this offseason, so you're going to see a lot of videos about just rumors that, could happen, proposals, and then, of course, signings and trades and stuff like that, everything that you would expect. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button, share this video with your friends, tell them to join the Cavs community here at Cavs Digest, and I'm Matt Plangy. Thank you guys for joining me.